Welcome to the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, where we break down Bendis' iconic run on Ultimate Spider-Man, issues 1 through 160 in Earth 1610. I'm Zach, and I'm joined as always by the Fresh Prince of Indianapolis, Mr. Johnny O.
How's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I like that one.
Yeah? Was that a nice one?
That was a nice one.
I was driving yesterday on the interstate, and I don't know if you know the one ramp from 465 onto 65 South that's like 100 feet in the air. But I'm on this ramp on the interstate, and I'm mid-turn. And if I go off the road, I'm going to die. And I thought of that, and I had to take out my notes app.
Oh, thank God.
I had to type in Fresh Prince of Indiana before I got onto the road that I needed to be on.
How is your week and weekend going, Zach?
Pretty good. Went to Louisville last night, saw a comedian, and
really,
after this, I'm taking the nephews to a trampoline park, and then tonight going to a show.
Gosh, you were just telling me how literally like your calendar is a rainbow, and you never stop moving.
It's so full. Whenever anyone asks me to do anything, it kind of hurts a little bit because I'm like, ooh, let me see where I can squeeze this in, but then I do it anyways.
What comedian did you see?
Shane Smith. He used to be one of my favorites. He was still good. He was still funny, but he's kind of gotten weird in recent years. Yeah.
What do you mean by weird?
Well, I don't want to tell you.
Let's cancel him.
Oh no, this is awkward. So he got super into Catholicism, and now that's like all he talks about. And I think
but he's a comedian, so
yes.
He makes jokes about it?
No, just like on social media, it's all he talks about. Ironically,
he's like really holy now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ironically, what he was talking about for his entire set was like the gang violence he used to be involved in when he was younger. It was like talking about jumping dudes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think he also is like
drive?
Kind of. There was this couple sitting right next to us, and they were on the side of the stage. They were the closest people to the comedian in this entire club. And they were so drunk and would not shut the fuck up, kept talking to each other, and they were like yelling to each other.
Oh my gosh,
the entire time.
That's insane. Some people's inability to modulate their voice is just like the most annoying thing in the world.
Dude, it was so bad. I'm not a narc, and I literally went up to one of the ushers, and I was like, that table has not stopped talking, and everyone around them is shushing them, and they're just ignoring it. And the comedian himself has called it out. This guy doesn't do a lot of like crowd work. He kind of sticks to his like scripted, whatever, his jokes. And he even like got out of the flow, and he's like, sorry, I just got really distracted by these people ordering their beer super loud. And I'm like, if you're the ushers, that should be your cue to like say something to them.
Definitely. But
yeah, it was fun.
So it was kind of worth the drive. It was fun. Okay.
Also,
you heard it here first, folks. Go see Shane Smith. He's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He also used to be like super based, and he was like this like hardcore communist guy. And ever since he like found God, I'm pretty sure he's like a conservative. He was talking about how he got banned from Australia because they thought he was a conservative extremist.
Oh, dude, this guy's going right down the pipeline. He's going to be a cancel culture comic in 6 months.
I know. He's going to be a Joe Rogan mainstay.
Well, that's fine. Shane Gillis is on Joe Rogan all the time. That's what I think. Shane Gillis is so funny.
That's true. He's another one
guy.
I can't place him politically.
Oh, I think he thinks that both parties are like the stupidest thing in the world. Like, I've listened to some of his podcasts, and he definitely thinks like all of the like Trump people are dumbasses. He just thinks like all of the Democrats are like also dumbasses. You know, politics, as we all know, are stupid.
Yeah, that's fair. I was talking to Shyla about it, and I was like, I'm really trying to stay above all the like petty like current events and like personality driven politics because it's just going to make me mad. I'm trying to really, when I see this stuff, remind myself, look, class consciousness is the ball game, right? There's the bourgeois and there's the proletariat and everything else is noise.
Nice. Okay, full on commie. Zach, not 30 minutes ago, I was thinking as we were getting ready for this, I was like, I really don't want to get into any politics today. Let's make some of these listeners happy that don't like us doing this. And let's just not do this. And look at that. We already managed to do it. Okay.
How about that? We jumped from 100 listeners down to 90 in 5 minutes.
Okay. What else do we have going on?
What do you got going on? I've talked a bit. What's new in John's world?
My volleyball season just started. We had our first practice yesterday. 8th graders now. I really want to win the city championship this year, so I will keep everyone informed as the year goes on.
Nice.
I really want to win though. I'm even telling the kids it's probably not a good idea. Because every year I'm always like, well, it's just about having fun. And this year I'm like, guys, I want to win this year. Okay. This is our 3rd year together as a coach and a team. We've gotten a lot better. You know, it's our year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So that's what I have going on. So now I have a million practices scheduled. So I'm also feel like I'm always doing stuff, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have.
Also on the subject of sports and politics, did you follow this whole hockey national anthem drama?
No, I followed the hockey league. I know the U.S. lost in overtime to Canada, but no, I didn't follow any stupid stuff.
Canada booed us during our national anthem, and then like immediately, like as soon as people got on the rink, it was like gloves off, fist fights, and they were fighting the whole game, and it turned into this big culture war thing where people are like, USA, USA, and Trump was calling the hockey team, and then we like went to play them again, and they whooped our ass. I think we lost the series.
No, well, so you were talking about game 1. So in game 1, I didn't know that thing about the national anthem. That's pretty rough, you know? That's pretty disrespectful. Not that I really care about any of that stuff. And, I'm not going to clutch my pearls about a bunch of drunk hockey fans like booing or anything. But I feel like that's pretty disrespectful.
Well, and here's the thing. So when it was back in Canada, they were like having signs. They're like, annex America, make it the 41st territory or some however many territories they have. And our people that had just talked about making them the 51st state were clutching their pearls, and they're like, that is not funny. And it's like, dude, fair's fair. If you can give it, you got to take it.
Yeah. I did know that there were like 3 fights in the first 8 seconds of that game, and then the U.S. won that one. But we didn't get our asses kicked in the championship. It was pretty look at me saying we like a true American.
You're such a patriot.
I am. I'm a little bit upset that you can't have any patriotism at all anymore without it being the Conservative Party has just co-opted patriotism, which we probably even talked about before, but because I wanted to win.
Sure, you probably had money on it.
No, I actually didn't because I figured Canada would win. They had a really good lineup. But it was close. We lost in overtime. We got the first goal.
I think it's fair that that's their sport, and we have like basketball and football. Right?
I want hockey too, and I'm coming for rugby next.
Yeah, exactly. I never expect us to beat, I don't know, Britain or really anywhere in the world in soccer. I don't expect us to beat India at cricket. Like some countries just have their game, and that gets to be what they dominate at. And
Yeah.
Canada has
Well, I guess
hockey,
Canada
and
has hockey.
what's the other thing? Curling, the luge, all the ice games are theirs.
Yeah, that's fair. Is Russia... Maybe if Russia was allowed in this 4-team thing, they're probably pretty good at hockey too. I would just have to imagine.
I've never heard of Russian hockey, but I'm also not
Really?
I'm not up on my hockey knowledge.
Isn't that what the Miracle on Ice was? Was that... No, I'm being so stupid right now. That was not against the Russians, was it? Do you know? Yes, it was. It was against the Soviet Union.
Okay,
yeah.
All right then. The 1980 Olympic hockey team.
Maybe that's when it all went to for them. They just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that was really the pinnacle of American hockey excellence.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's
All
do
right.
some Spider-Man.
All right, no more politics. Maybe more sports. All right. Do you know who the sponsor is today?
Yeah, it's politics.
Okay. All right, let's send it over to a word from politics.
Every business says they're better. But the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
And we're back. And today we are getting into Ultimate Enemy numbers 3 and 4. These are both going to be written by Brian Michael Bendis, penciled by Rafa Sandoval, inked by Roger Benet, colored by Matthew Wilson, and lettered by VC's Joe Caramagna.
And edited by the snake, Ralph Macchio.
The snake, Ralph Macchio. For people who don't remember why we say that, that's what...
Jim Shooter.
That's what
right?
Jim Shooter... Yeah, that's what Jim Shooter called him when he was talking to us at Lexington Comic-Con like 2 years ago.
And also Ralph Macchio is not even the editor of this.
Oh, was he not? I don't have it up.
No.
Who was? Probably
Just
the
snake
Joe
Nick
Quesada.
Lowe. The snake Joe Quesada.
Oh yeah, Joe Quesada. There's another snake in the grass for you. we
kidding.
don't know any of these people.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is fun to dunk on Nick Lowe because you get a lot of retweets for it.
Why? What's his deal?
He's like he just stopped actually, but he had been the current Spider-Man editor, and so people had problems with the direction of the stories under him. And he's the guy that Bendis had himself strangle in the do you remember that when Wolverine switched bodies?
And they like go into the like creator universe.
Yes. And he's got like Bagley chained to a desk drawing this, and he's like saying help me. And I'm pretty sure
strangling Nick Lowe.
I'm pretty sure Bendis was strangling Nick Lowe.
That's funny.
All right. So we open on the Triskelion, and Carol Danvers is getting briefed on everything that we saw happen in the last 2 issues. So last episode for us. And they're running through all the places that got hit and trying to determine the targets. And she says, if this is Magneto again, and a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent has to remind her that Magneto is dead. And she asks where Tony Stark and the Ultimates are, and the agent tells her they're off-world on a mission. And Carol's like, whatever that means. And John, I just had to interject immediately. I'm like, for being the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., she looks really out of the loop. And it makes her seem uncharacteristically incompetent.
I think maybe that's on purpose in this run.
I think it is, too.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know where the Ultimates are at any given moment. And especially if all of them are off-world, it's probably for a good reason that she would already be up on.
Yeah. Maybe she's just panicking.
Yeah, she seems to kind of be flailing with the situation. She doesn't know how to take control. And we see that in the next thing she does when she asks for all of the experts on whatever these monsters are. And the agents tell her most of them worked in those Roxxon buildings that just blew up. And she gets on the intercom and says, "This is Danvers. We are on code white, full lockdown and full alert until further notice. We are at war. We are at war with a hidden enemy. The attacks are alien and or biological in nature. I want every agent, from every assassin to dishwasher, in the field and focused on this. The first wave of attacks was completely successful. We have to assume another will follow. I want a list of possible targets other than the one I'm standing in right now. I want a defensive strategy. I want to know exactly what we are fighting against, and I want to know now. We've come too far to let this kind of thing happen to us again. This is what you signed up for, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Do well." And then she starts to walk away. And the agent who had been talking to her is like, "Ma'am, where are you going?" And she says, "I gotta pee." And he's like, "Yes, ma'am." And we cut to her in the bathroom washing her hands.
She kind of took charge there. That was a good little speech.
Yeah, she mustered it for...
Let's give her laurels.
A second. She's in the bathroom and washing her hands and talking to herself, and she's like, Roxxon, Roxxon, Roxxon. What is it that they even make over there? And John, I was wondering if we could do a dramatic reading. There's a character here that I just am dying to hear your take on.
Okay.
I'll take Carol Danvers, you take this other person.
I don't have an impression of this.
Okay. I thought you would have so much fun with this.
Okay.
You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
No, okay. We'll do it.
All right.
Guess you should have known that before you took this job.
You're in the ladies' room.
I don't like to label things.
How about out of your mind? How's that for a label? Seems appropriate.
For me or you?
How'd you even break in here? We're on full lockdown.
Seriously, you didn't hear? I'm the man.
And we realize, we get the big reveal that John is Nick Fury and he's behind Carol with a gun to her head.
Gosh, sometimes, Zach, you can tell that there is a God. Okay. Since we're getting, religious now. We are the number one religious spider pod.
Of course.
And earlier this week, you know what song has been like stuck in my head? And there's no reason for it. I just like randomly thought about it and I like listened to it a couple times.
One of the songs that says I'm the man.
By Aloe Black. I'm the man, back from like 10 years ago. Do you remember that one?
There's so many songs like that. The Killers have one, and I'm pretty sure like
that's actually what made me think of the Aloe Black one, because I heard a different Killers song and then it reminded me of the Man song, and I was like, oh, that Aloe Black song, I gotta throw that one on. And I even sent it to a buddy of mine as a throwback. And then I read this, and I turned the page, and Nick Fury was saying, I'm the man. And I'm like, what are the odds of that? I haven't thought about that song in years.
We might have a jam of the week then.
I think you're right. I think that is the jam of the week.
Is that the one where it's like, you can tell everybody?
That's it.
Okay.
They used to have the commercials where the players would like be listening to like Skip Bayless hating on them or something in the locker room, and then they'd put their headphones on. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
That goes hard.
That does. That's a good one.
All right. Carol says, Fury, you better listen. And Fury says, someone tried to kill me tonight. Someone with access to a lot of stuff only a few people in the world even know about. And I thought to myself, who has that intel and maybe wants to kill me? And damn it to all hell if you weren't the first name on my... And then they start kung fu fighting. She knocks the gun out of his hand. And seems like she's maybe moving as fast as lightning. And
I can't believe Fury would think Carol Danvers would... Why would she be the first name on his list? Doesn't that seem strange?
Yeah, I don't know. Because she already has his job. It's not like he's necessarily a threat to her. But I guess he thinks so.
Yeah. This is classic Nick Fury. He's just always wrong. To be fair to Carol Danvers, current head of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we were talking about, maybe she's not the best at her job.
He's also not.
Exactly. We've had that conversation about Nick Fury many times.
Yeah. But damn if he doesn't have swag as he's wrong.
He does. There's something about him every time he's on screen. You forget for a little bit that he's just not very good at this.
Right. He walks in and he commands the room and he's like got his eye patch and he'll maybe be like smoking a cigar and looks super calm. And you're like, yeah, I would follow that guy into hell. And it's like, well, good, because that's where he's leading you. All right. So Fury says either you're involved or you let this happen on your watch. And I find that highly disgusting. So you tell me, which one is it? It's like, well, we'll talk about the pot calling the kettle black, Nick Fury.
Well, actually, I'm not so sure that is, because the ultimatum also happened on her watch, you know? So, boy, she has really this up. You know, maybe Nick Fury was better at his job than we thought he was. He is dealing with, like, planet murdering threats, you know?
That's true. Avengers level threats.
I'd say he did pretty good, considering he left and now we're, you know, we got ultimatum and now we're getting this.
Yeah, you're right, but also there's been some pretty big stuff that transpired. Do you remember in the Ultimates when he flew like a fleet of like 100,000 soldiers directly into a nuclear blast?
Yes, and it was like a trap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
All those Hearth Michelsons will just
can't all be winners.
Unmourned. So we cut back to the Parker house where Gilroy the Terrible has appeared in the backyard.
That's right. You got a good memory. I didn't think that one time when I was reading.
Well, I had to edit last week's episode, so I heard it again. And Bobby and Gwen are sitting at the kitchen table and overhear May's conversation with Peter on the phone. This is where we left off last issue. And Bobby can tell that something isn't right. Because May's like, What? Calm down. Settle down. What do you mean we have to leave? And Bobby turns around and sees Gilroy the Terrible just in time before he strikes. And Bobby ices up and throws a cool ice spear through the window at Gilroy, who seemingly, because remember, the art isn't super clear, but it looks cool, makes a force field to protect himself and blow up the Parker house. And we see Bobby protected the three of them with a well-timed ice wall. And he tells Gwen to take May out the back door and over the fence and don't stop running. We cut back to S.H.I.E.L.D., where a woman comes into the restroom.
That's as good as we've seen Bobby in this series. Sorry, I know I just touched my mic. It was probably really loud.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, he was on ball here. That was tight.
Yeah. And he even, you know, I'd say he even is drawn a little cooler. He doesn't quite look like the, you know, dork that he was in the just plain Ultimate Universe, you know, when he was living with them.
Well,
Bobby has grown up.
Yes. It helps that he's not a 14-year-old boy wearing a do-rag.
Exactly.
So we cut back to S.H.I.E.L.D., where a woman comes into the restroom looking for Carol Danvers, and she sees Danvers and Fury with guns pointed at each other. And she's like, and Danvers like, what?
Do you have any doubt that if this woman didn't walk in, both of them would have just shot each other in the head? We were 5 seconds away from losing both of our heads of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I thought you were going to go a completely different direction from that. I thought you were going to say, do you have any doubt that if she hadn't walked in, this would have turned into like a passionate makeout and on the bathroom counter sesh?
Or maybe it could have been that.
Like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibe.
Maybe.
I think it's funny that in S.H.I.E.L.D., in the Triskelion, like the most serious building in the world, the girl on the bathroom door has pigtails.
It's like a little girl.
It looks like the bathroom sign in a kindergarten. Anyways, this agent is shocked. She's like, what did I just walk into? And Carol's like, what is it? spit it out. And the agent says, "There's been another attack. Queens." And Carol says, "Is that?" And Fury answers yes. And Danvers and Fury both yell at the agent in unison. "Full alert! Get a battalion of Hulkbuster agents on the ground now."
Just to make it a little more clear, Nick Fury was the one that said the Parker house first. And then Carol Danvers was like, so right, just if we're putting them on tier lists here, Fury seems to know what's going right. Fury knew immediately, oh, Queens, that's the Parker house. And then Carol Danvers was like, oh, is that Spider-Man? And I'm guessing that's what she was going to say.
Yeah. Parker, which one is that again?
Yeah.
I know.
Parker, I hardly know her.
I know I just saw him like a couple issues ago and told him that he needs to start superhero school, but I'm juggling a lot of balls here, Nick. Okay, so they look at each other a little surprised, and again, this is a good opportunity for them to kiss, just saying. And then they both yell in unison again, "Move!" So that's fun. We love when they give orders at the same time.
That is fun. That is kind of fun.
It's like, which one's in charge here? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. They're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And back at the Parker house, Bobby ice slides out.
Is that Peter Parker?
Which Parker are we talking about here? And back at the Parker house, Bobby ice slides out to meet Gilroy for battle. And both of their powers look so cool coming off their hands. I got to give kudos to Rafael Sandova. It looks sick. Good fight. And Bobby fully encases Gilroy in ice. And the whole neighborhood comes out to inspect it. And they're just as clueless as you'd think. They still have no idea they live next to a superhero foster home. They're like, what's going on here? Gilroy breaks out of his ice cube and is about to pummel Bobby when Peter, Sue Storm, and Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm arrive to the battle. Because remember from last issue, they kind of pieced together, oh, Peter's house is next. So they were on their way.
How did they piece that together?
Because he realized...
because Peter called Aunt May.
Yep. He's like, everyone's getting hit but me. Oh, wait. I'm probably getting hit too.
Huh.
And they all start fighting Gilroy. And at some point, Ben has lost multiple chunks of his rocks. And the holes are glowing.
Yeah, I do love... Okay, so Ben, Peter, Sue, they all show up on like a big page splash art. And Bobby's behind them too. And Ben says, guess what time it is? Seriously, you'll never guess. And I love that. That's better than yelling, it's clobbering time.
Right. Because it's clobbering time is the punchline. This is the setup.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time that, like...
I feel like maybe he's said this before, though. Like, have we seen this in another issue?
No.
Or something similar to this?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. During Ultimatum, like, all the fucking heroes are dead. Millions of people are dead. All hope is lost. It's as bad as it can get. It's not going to get worse from here. And one of the issues end with the Thing showing up and saying, the freaking cavalry has arrived.
That's awesome.
I love it. It's like when someone's team is down by 40 points in the fourth quarter and they score a garbage time touchdown and do their little dance.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I love the Thing.
He's fun. Sue traps Gilroy in a force field ball and starts like picking it up and throwing it down and smashing him into the ground while yelling, "Who are you? Who are you? Who the f*** are you?" And the S.H.I.E.L.D. Hulkbuster squad arrives and says, "We'll take it from here, Miss Storm." And the kids squabble with Danvers for a sec because they're mad that no one knows what Gilroy is or where he came from. And Peter kind of interrupts them and is like, what's wrong with him? And points over at Ben, who at this point is fully glowing and writhing in pain on the ground. And everyone turns their attention to Ben, and he becomes the epicenter of a big shockwave as his rocks start to crack open. And the issue ends there.
Oh no. Poor Ben.
I know.
Also, now if something is touching my microphone and making noise, that's my cat Omaha.
Yep, that would be the tale that I'm seeing.
And since she's God's perfect angel, we just have to let her do what she wants.
Right. If she wants to get on the mic, if she wants to, meow a little bit.
Omi, look at this. He's losing his rocks. He's getting his rocks off.
Damn it, John, you stole my joke. I was going to say, I give this issue 8 out of 10 rocks off.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know why. Maybe I read it too fast a couple times, but I put in my notes here that I thought it was kind of boring, but I don't actually agree with that anymore. We got some good Nick Fury stuff, and it was a good fight.
Yep.
Bobby did a good job.
Bobby did a good job. He deserves a pat on the head and someone telling him good work.
Let's take Bobby's do-rag off and give him a nice pat on the head.
Yeah, let's see if that happens next issue.
Okay, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 rocks off.
All right. So I got a few more rocks off than John with this issue.
But I did just turn the page and it's the Thing's clobbering time joke, so that's pretty good too. I'll stick with the 7. 7 out of 10 rocks off, 8 out of 10 rocks off. I think we can agree that's a lot of rocks off.
Yeah. It's just a big punch 'em up issue, but there's enough fun lines in it that I enjoyed reading it. It's just a fun little comic.
Yeah. Okay, issue 4, which is issue 4 of 4 on this thing. But as Zach told us last week, we have 4 more issues, right? Of this
I think we have
storyline.
8.
Okay, nice. So the Thing is about to explode on the cover. Doesn't look good for him. This is written by the same creative team as Zach. And the fight continues at the Parker household. It's like a big splash art page of just all of our heroes and all of the SHIELD agents fighting in the background, and Ben is glowing in the foreground, and he looks like he's about to explode. And Johnny's rushing towards him.
Oh my God,
help.
The Thing is gonna bust.
And Carol Danvers is yelling for everyone to back away from him. She's kind of a coward, huh?
Or she's trying to protect people.
I mean,
he literally looks like he's about to blow.
So Johnny yells, "Screw you, lady." And he and Peter and Bobby, which I like that they join him, they all rush over towards Ben. But nobody knows what to do. They're just like, Ben! Ben! And Ben looks back and he says, help, before his entire body glows purple and then everything turns black. Like he either exploded or passed out. And, Sue Storm, she's crying. She's like, Ben. And the monster, Gilroy, he gives a pretty sinister looking smile. I didn't like that very much.
We don't like our villains to be sinister.
Well, it's just isn't that shows some higher level thinking than just destroy and kill, right? That's what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe that's why they call him the Terrible. It's about his personality.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, where was I? They passed out. So he passed out or exploded, maybe. And back at the Triskelion, Carol begins to interview Gilroy the Terrible. She says that he looks man-made, not alien. Ooh, that's a clue. If we're trying to figure out what this thing is. And she's like, okay, buddy boy, I'm going to torture you or I'm going to kill you if you don't say anything. But he doesn't say anything. And she lowers her head and she says, okay, you called my bluff. I'm not a torturer. So I called in someone who is. and Nicholas Ken Griffey Jr. Fury comes walking around the corner with his kick-ass labeled baseball bat, and he's ready to go to work. And it reminded me of that scene in Inglourious Bastards where they call in the bear Jew, and he comes walking out with his baseball bat.
It's such a great scene.
It is such a great scene. That was supposed to be Adam Sandler. Did we talk about this just a couple weeks ago? I talked about this with somebody just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that role was supposed to be for Adam Sandler. Like, it was written in mind by Quentin Tarantino with Adam Sandler in mind, but then he was like unavailable.
I can't even imagine that.
I think I can.
Huh.
That guy was great, but
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Adam Sandler doing that.
I love the line, "Hey, a Nazi wants to die for his country. Oblige him."
Oblige him. Yeah, dude, that movie's so awesome.
Yeah.
Bet Brad Pitt's great in that. Okay, so that's
Bonjour.
So that's Nick Fury in this, and he just starts wailing on this alien creature. It's a pretty cool setup that they've got here, because obviously there's a force field, but it's like a one-way force field, because Fury is able to just beat his brains in, like, from the other side of the force field, but Gilroy obviously can't get out.
It's very cool. I can just imagine, I already know, when the bat passes through this force field, it makes a cool whomp sound.
Definitely. And so Fury's just beating his brains in, and he's yelling, "What's your fucking name?"
No. He says, "What's your name?"
He does. He says, yeah, he does. Yeah, you're right. Oh, nice catch.
Says the Samuel L. Jackson word.
God, I love Nick Fury.
And at this point in the comics, it's like canonical. It's already happened. Samuel L. Jackson has played Nick Fury in the MCU movies.
Yeah.
So he's explicitly writing him as, oh yeah, I'm going to have Samuel L. Jackson say in a comic.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the Triskelion, Johnny and Sue stand over a passed out Ben. He's lying in like a medical bay. He's in his rock form. He's got rocks popping off all over. And Sue begins to cry, and she asks for a moment alone. And then she confesses to Ben that she was just confused when he said she loved her, and he caught her off guard, but she loves him too, and she's gonna fix him, and earn blah blah blah. Zach, I don't know, it didn't really do anything for me. Did this do anything for you?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, good. I'm glad of that.
So here's the thing. It's clear at this point that, the goal of the Ultimate Universe has shifted post-Ultimatum from, we are going to make like an accessible and modern retelling of these original stories for new readers. And it's turned into, the Ultimate Universe is now a playground for stories that we couldn't or wouldn't want to tell in the main universe, right? So Bendis is taking that and absolutely running with it and telling one of the most like bold, out there Fantastic Four stories, but he's doing it in the sandbox that he's created with Ultimate Spider-Man, right? We've got all our Ultimate Spider-Man characters here. So it's like comfortable for us readers of Ultimate Spider-Man, but then he's just saying, what if there was something else under Ben's rocks? What if Reed died? What if the Ultimate Fantastic Four were disassembled? And instead of choosing Reed, maybe there was a romance between Sue and Ben. There's a lot of fun ideas that he's playing with here, because it seems like the training wheels have come off and he's kind of given that freedom. And I appreciate that.
I love it. Well, don't let my this not doing anything for me take away from the fact that I don't love Sue Storm and the Thing together, because I do. That's why I'm just like, yeah, I know you guys love each other. Now you can like wake up and just be together. I just know it's coming.
Yeah. It's such a departure.
And I like it.
Yes. Would I like it for the main Marvel universe? No, don't do this in 616. But this is like a
See,
good...
I have such a different relationship with the Fantastic Four than you do.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about them at all, except for Reed Richards as the Maker, except for this Ultimate Universe Fantastic Four, which I like a lot.
These are your Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is I think a pretty controversial story beat, but it's one that I'm okay with in this context. And then, not to spoil anything, but in Secret Wars, the 2015 Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, there's like a pretty tender scene that always like kind of breaks me up a little bit, that is definitely calling back this specific dynamic. So I think it just gets better that context.
So Secret Wars comes after this.
Yes. Secret Wars has not happened yet.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Are we going to read that? How far are we going to follow this storyline?
It's not that much further, but I don't want to spoil anything for the listeners, but I figured if there's anything that you're dying to read, it's Secret Wars and Maker stuff.
I kind of am. We got a listener comment that we should, now that they have 12 issues out of this new Ultimate Spider-Man, we should do that. Which I have a question. Okay.
They have 13 now.
Oh, nice. That's not actually the Ultimate Universe though, right? The only Ultimate Universe thing about that run is the Maker, correct? Everything else is in a different universe.
It's not 1610.
Yeah. So it's not really the Ultimate Universe.
We now have two things that are called the Ultimate Universe. We have two separate Ultimate Universes, which is confusing.
It's not that confusing.
Okay. You're a smart guy.
Thanks, Zach. Okay, not to give us an even bigger tangent, but this was also a question that I had this week that came up, but is there just like a universe number 1? And is that like the main universe? Like there's 616 and somehow 616 is like the main universe, but surely there's like a universe 1, right? Or universe prime or something.
So funny enough you ask. Earth 1 or like 001 is literally just like a Spider-Man place, and it's like run by like the vampires that eat spider people, right? I don't know if you remember Morlun, who ate Patton Parnell.
That's that like universe 1.
That's his world. That's just where a bunch of vampires that eat spider people live. It's very random.
It's tough to be a Spider-Man in that universe.
Yeah.
Okay. So the numbers obviously don't mean that much.
No, they don't matter.
Okay. All right. So Sue has just professed her love to Ben, and then as she finishes this, he, as if he could like hear her or something, he kind of begins to like shake violently and freak out in his medical bay. And then we see his eye start to glow purple like it was before. And from the reflection on Sue's face...
I'm so sorry. Did you actually say that she said she basically loves him too? She's like, I'm going to earn your love.
Yep.
Okay.
I think I did, but it's good repetition.
Okay.
It's a good speech.
Because it lets us know what she was actually thinking from issue 1.
Yeah.
This is the closure to that.
Yep. And from her reflection, we can see like Ben's entire body is glowing purple, and then the scene cuts away. So Nick Fury is still going to town on Gilroy, but he isn't getting anything. And I didn't think this before, but it calls back to what we just talked about in the last issue, where Nick Fury walks in and he looks like a total badass, like ready to get the job done. And then it's like, oh, he didn't get anything. He just beat him up for a little bit, but it didn't really get any information.
Right.
He's just not very good at his job, but he looks cool doing it.
That's right.
And so as he's beating him up, someone off screen yells, "Fury, stop!" And it's none other than Hawkeye. And Hawkeye says, I got this. Go for a walk. And Fury looks at the monster and says, you're in trouble now, blasty boy. And Hawkeye says, we'll be starting with your reproductive organs.
John.
Yes.
If you were like a bigwig in the military, right? And
Yes.
you're face to face with like the biggest threat ever. And you're telling him, I am the top dog, right? I'm the person you want to talk to. But actually, I'm going to have you talk to this other person who's under me. And a different guy walks in. And he tries to torture you for a while, and it doesn't do anything. And then someone below him comes in and is like, I got this, boss. Let me do it.
I was thinking the same thing.
There's
I love this chain of command in the torture department.
And it just keep going down and down the ranks until eventually there's going to be like a janitor who's like, you see what this end of the mop is for?
That's so funny. Yes, I was literally thinking that same thing. I'm like, they're like, Carol Danvers is like, oh, you're in trouble now. Nick Fury's coming in to torture. And then none other than Hawkeye shows up. And we're like, oh boy, the cavalry has arrived.
The ultimate member we always forget about.
And apparently this is like what Hawkeye's known for.
Right. I've never known this about him before, but
because Fury walks out and he's like, and Danvers is like, oh, you sent Hawkeye in there alone?
Not Hawkeye.
Oh, I don't like this one bit.
Uh-oh.
And so anyway, the scene changes. Hawkeye's gonna go to town on Gilroy. Poor guy. And back at the Parker house, Aunt May tells the kids that they are not going to school today. They need to get some sleep. And she tells Bobby how proud she is of him saving the day last night. And that's nice because he did a good job. He deserves an attaboy, and now he got one. And Peter blames himself because he knows that thing came for him and he's the target. And he's like, somehow this thing knew where Reed Richards was and knew where Nick Fury was and knew where I was. I need to leave so Aunt May is not in danger. I want to stop here for a moment because knowing what we know about who actually sent this threat, did this thing maybe come for Johnny and not Peter? And, is there a chance of that, Zach?
That is a very, very interesting idea. I would say it probably came for both of them, to be honest, because they also targeted Jessica Drew.
Oh, yeah, did they?
But I don't think it would have been lost on whoever the ultimate villain is here.
Because it did target Reed, and it targeted Sue, and, potentially the Thing, if it knew the Thing was, there also, right? So, it could be going after Fantastic Four members.
Right.
Yeah.
And the person that we know sent this would definitely have known where Johnny was.
And I don't understand time travel, because... So did Reed die? If this thing went back in time to kill Reed, but it is the Reed from this universe, I don't get it.
Okay.
Is it going to explain?
Let's see where the story goes and if time travel is even at play here.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So Peter, okay, he blames himself and he's like, look, I need to go and find out what this thing is. I need to keep you guys out of danger. So he tells Gwen and Aunt May to get a hotel in New Jersey before saying to Aunt May, you have to trust me. You just have to. And Aunt May says, okay. And Peter swings away.
This is like the third time he's sent her to New Jersey.
Has he?
That's always his go-to. He's like, you know what? Things are getting too hot here. I need you to go 30 miles and get a hotel.
And she's always like, oh, it's so smelly in New Jersey, though.
Peter never sends me to Florida.
Can't you splurge? Can Nick Fury get me some tickets to Hawaii?
For real, why doesn't S.H.I.E.L.D. send them to a safe house?
Bad at their jobs.
Right.
So Gwen and Aunt May look on as he swings away, and Gwen says, he'll come back. And then we see, as Peter swinging away, Jessica Drew sees him and begins to follow him. And at the Triskelion, Hawkeye has just removed a reproductive unit, and he says, now you know why God gave you 2 of almost everything. So you get a second chance to answer this question. This brings up an interesting point. Okay? I'm taking a lot of liberties with potentially knowing the future of what happens. Carol Danvers said this thing is man-made. We assume, based on that Reed Richards made this thing. So when he is making his crazy monster-destroying creature, 1, he's giving it, higher level thinking to know when he's about to kill the thing and it's making Sue sad, And 2, he gave it a penis and 2 testicles for Hawkeye to take out one of them. It's kind of weird, right?
Little bit, yeah.
He should just make him a Ken doll.
I would make a Ken doll if I was creating a monster.
I would too, probably.
Dude, I was thinking about this the other day. The phrase, "Oh, he's got balls," or "Oh, you won't do it, no balls," or whatever. I was just thinking, and part of this is we were watching a show where there's like eunuchs in a court, and like they're knights and stuff. And I was like, dude, if you took my balls, I would be diving headfirst into danger nonstop. I would have nothing to fear. We've got that saying so backwards.
So the thing that's keeping you from just diving headfirst into danger is protection of your
is
balls.
Getting racked, yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I would lead a much riskier life.
Do you wear a cup when you go to music shows where you're going to be diving around and
never?
What? Yeah. Okay. So you're not that concerned.
No, that would be that'd be overkill.
Yeah.
I just have it in the back of my head. Oh God, I hope I don't get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, that's fair. So Hawkeye's given him a second chance to answer this question. And this did the trick. Hawkeye is the main torture king because the monster finally speaks. And he says, I am the creation of the creator. Your society does not work. Your morals are corrupted. It is your choices that bring this punishment. And out of this destruction will come a new world, a clean world, a world of true promise. And as Gilroy finishes his speech, the huge squid organism begins to burst from it, consuming the entire building. And Fury and Danvers make it out just in time, but I think poor Hawkeye might be toast. I'm not sure.
The art is unclear.
I think, yeah. The art is unclear.
Someone could make a drinking game for the last couple of episodes. Every time we said, it looks really cool, but I don't know what's happening.
Well, maybe we're not supposed to know. Hawkeye will emerge 5 issues from now like a hero who we all thought was dead.
Sure.
And he'll cut off a reproductive organ of a prisoner of war.
Far be it from us to understand this piece of art we paid to enjoy.
Oh, I think it's fine. You're being a hater.
I'm really not, though, because I'm enjoying this a lot. It just grinds my gears when I don't know what's happening.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, too. Well, Hawkeye's got to find his own way out, Of course, the flying shield agents came and immediately picked up Fury and Danvers and flew them to safety. Nobody took a second to fly Hawkeye out of the building. So Danvers asks what just happened and what it means, and Fury says it means this is over when Mr. Mystery says it is. And the squid... Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say... So we've said before that this reminds us of the Watchmen thing. This just reminded me of something else. You won't know what this is, but for anyone who's seen Akira, this is like the organism at the end of Akira, right? That just like grows and absorbs people and crushes them and is like just this terrifying blob.
Yep. Like the organism in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Ego's thing that he puts on all the planets.
Oh, yeah.
I can only relate things to Marvel movies.
That's why you're better suited to this podcast than me.
It's a character flaw.
Yeah. I bring in completely unrelated things, and I'm like, oh, it's like this.
So the squid creature is bursting through the Triskelion. It bursts through the medical bay that Ben is in, and things are not looking good. Ben is freaking out. The squid creature is like growing in size. And, you know, Johnny is like, oh my gosh, and flying around. And then suddenly everything just kind of calms, and Ben breaks free from his pod, a much more normal humanoid purple man, and says, hi guys. And it's continued an ultimate mystery.
Wow.
I don't like it.
You don't like what?
I don't like Ben's new look. I think I like him as the Thing. We just talked about how great the Thing is. And, you know, I think it's a little bit of a cop-out to be like, we're going to put a big rock man, Ben Grimm, and beautiful supermodel Sue Storm together. Oh, but actually, we're going to make Ben a normal-looking superhero guy, you know.
He's got to be handsome.
Exactly, right. He can't, the Thing would never actually be with Sue Storm, obviously.
Right. That is funny because his whole, like, internal worrying, you know, for his entire existence has been, aw, shucks, I'm an unlovable giant rock.
Yeah.
I'll be alone till the day I die. And it's like, you are right that their solution to that was, yeah, buddy, we got to fix something.
Yeah.
You need a makeover.
Like so, but it happened, and we'll move past it.
Yeah.
All in all, pretty good issue.
I don't think that was actually their intent. I think they were just throwing a whole bunch of different stuff at the wall with the Fantastic Four mythos, and this is what they came out with. Was, what if Ben's rocks were actually, like, covering something up?
Interesting. Okay, let's say out of 10 reproductive organs that Hawkeye has removed in his career.
Oh boy.
I think I'll give this one an 8 out of 10.
Interesting.
Pretty good. Better than the last one, I thought. But only so slightly.
I disagree. I give this a 7 out of 10, and I prefer
there you go.
My issue.
Wow. Maybe taking notes and looking into our own issues a little deeper made us enjoy them more.
Perhaps. We should have been paying attention to that this whole... I wonder if...
That would be kind of an interesting thing to look back on.
In the totality of this podcast, have you liked most of your issues more, and have I liked most of my issues more? And how much of that, then, is me assigning you the issues that I think you'll like?
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll
sometimes
never know.
I'll see a character and I'll be like, oh, this is a Kingpin issue. John, you got that.
Yep, that's true. Well, both pretty good issues. I'm interested in the storyline, and I'm looking forward to next week's.
I low-key love this storyline, and I feel like it's kind of forgotten about. Yes, we're getting into Ultimate Mystery 1 and 2 next week.
Okay. Darn it. We're done with our issues.
That went fast.
Bummer. I think we got started a little early. Now we have plenty of time to talk about all the fun things that we can talk about. I was hoping we'd talk about the new Captain America movie. I had actually kind of a lot to say about it, but Zach didn't go and see it, so now I can't.
I'm sorry. You said you were going to see it with me, and then you were like, actually, I can't do it. Go see it alone. So
you were going to see it with Shyla anyways.
Well, we would have damn sure made sure we were there if you were going.
You guys need to see it this week. And I'll try to go with you if I can, but my calendar is a rainbow.
I know. You just signed up for this Colts thing, possibly.
Yes, and now we can't go see it on Monday.
Yeah. Did your brother answer?
Let's see.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you. When we're reading these comics and they have Johnny and Bobby living in a house together, do you ever think about that? You're like, that's like me and my brother's names.
Yeah, I think about it every time that they say it.
Okay.
Of course. If we were reading a comic that had two people named Zach and Shyla living in the same house, you'd think about it a lot, right?
That would be a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, it's fun. And Aunt May is like our mom.
Aw.
Bobby O said, no, I'm good, but I'm going to send him another text actually explaining what it is to see if he wants to go and see it.
Gotcha.
Because as we all know, it's so much easier to just immediately say, no, you don't want to go and do anything.
Unless you're
be
me,
cool.
In which case I say yes to everything.
Yes. This is like a Colts thing where Peyton Manning and all the people Zach and I get our rocks off to are going to go and talk about the good old days.
Yeah. We go from talking about fictional comic book superheroes to actual real-life sports heroes.
Yes, both of which have so much to do with our actual lives. In a way, sports teams are no more real than comic books. Could somebody write a thesis paper on that?
I know that's
a vaguely interesting thought.
Yeah. I mean, anything. Let's be like armchair philosophers for a second.
Let's put on our Jordan Peterson pants and weird jacket and do our voice. In a way, sports teams are no more real than superheroes.
Anything is only as valuable as much as you value it, right? Whether it's fictional or real.
That's true. You're right. You're right, Zach. You're absolutely right. Oh, I feel like some days my Jordan Peterson impression is better than others. Today it's not really coming through. Sorry, guys.
But it works great as an RFK one.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're glad it's working for something.
I tried thinking about what kind of person I would be if Peyton Manning and Spider-Man had not been a part of my life, and I genuinely can't think of it.
You'd probably be pretty similar.
I don't think I would. No, dude. I would be on hard drugs, living in the desert, shooting anyone that came down my driveway.
Wow, this is cool. I'd like to see that what if issue.
Marvel, what if Zach had never grown up a Peyton Manning Colts fan and read Spider-Man comics?
That'd be a good one. Well, just so you do know, I actually do have kind of a good little rewrite of the Captain America movie that I was hoping to get to talk to you guys about, but I can't now. And by you guys, I mean Zach and the listeners, because I think it's pretty good. And it's not like I put a lot of effort, right? I just did it in a quick little 10 minutes, just adding a little changes to the second and third acts. Thinking make it a lot better. Not that it matters at all, but I was hoping to share it with you, Zach.
Well, here's the good news is you'll still get to. Because
it won't be timely.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the movie.
Okay.
Did you see it was like the second best grossing Captain America movie ever, but also one of the worst.
Inflation is crazy.
I guess. I don't know if they take that into account. But also, it was like one of the worst reviewed superhero movies ever.
Well, everybody wanted to go, right? It's like Captain America fights the Hulk, and it's a red Hulk this time, and,
It's Harrison Ford.
And it's, Harrison Ford's in it. Tim Blake Nelson, is that his name? The Thinker? He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Falcon's cool.
Yeah.
Does some cool kicks.
That's a lot to say about a movie. I think that's worthy of an Oscar, really.
Well, we won't know because you haven't seen it.
I love reviewing movies I haven't seen. Have you picked up on that?
Yes.
My favorite movie of all time is
the one about building buildings.
Yeah, I can't even
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Yeah.
All right. Well, what else do we have? There was a new Invincible.
So I tried to watch that last night when we got back from the comedy show. And Shiloh was like, "It's so late. You really going to start this now?" And I was like, "I guess not." So we need to watch that.
Okay, well, I guess we can't talk about that either.
I know, I'm falling behind. I spent the last week binge watching an anime called The Apothecary Diaries because season 2 just came out and they wanted me to watch that with them. It's pretty good. I know you're not going to have anything to say about it, but that's
the name.
It's
The Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah, it's
Got
pretty
a
cool.
nice feel to it.
It's like in ancient China, and this girl was like raised as an apothecary, and she's super smart. She knows everything about like herbs and medicine and what this flower does and how to cure this disease and whatever. And she gets like kidnapped and sold into service at like the palace. And they quickly realize, hey, this girl is like super smart and can solve a bunch of our problems. So she kind of becomes like this Sherlock Holmes figure where, you know, the higher up people and like even the emperor will go to her and they're like, hey, we've got a problem. We think this person got poisoned. And she'll just like walk into the room and like solve the mystery.
That sounds pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. That's like a glowing review for us. It was pretty good. Okay, well, what else do you have, Zach?
Dude, I'm so boring. I have like nothing.
Okay, well then let's announce the winners of our giveaway. Winners plural, because Zach and I aren't very good at giveaways. And he checked on one and found a winner, and I checked on another and found a winner, and so now there's 2 winners.
2 winners?
So luckily there are 2 shirts. So somebody's gonna get the good shirt. Someone's getting the Mark 1 and someone's getting the Mark 3. But we'll never tell.
Yep. So the Instagram winner is Patrick I cannot talk today. So
I love the idea. I love the idea of writing in somewhere, and you're like excited. They might like say your name like on the thing that you're listening to, and then the time comes and it's just f***ed up.
The wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. No, Patrick Brewer. Congratulations, you're getting a shirt.
And the email winner is Matthew Stiles, who says he never had anything nice to wear at weddings, so he'll be happy to finally have a decent formal shirt, which is true. You'll be out. Yeah, it's a good one.
That made us laugh, Matthew. Thank you for that.
And it will tell the bride and groom that they've got to do better, which is important.
Yes. And if there's any senators at the wedding, it'll tell them as well.
Oh, that's true.
Did I tell you I ran into our senator one time years ago at a LA Fitness?
Did you give him a what for?
Dude, I was kind of thinking about it. I was kind of racking my brain about what I could tell him he needs to do better with.
Which senator?
It was Todd Young. He was on an exercise bike. Ugh. He looked exactly like Todd Young.
I don't know anything about
He was sitting in front of the IU game, and he went to IU. And he could kind of tell that I was looking at him like, that's our senator. And he got up and left.
He was like, I'm going to end up on Facebook. This guy's going to throw a camera in my face.
Todd Young, scared of his own constituents.
Yep, that's true. You know, me and the boys, when we're hanging out, we like to call him Todd Old, just for fun.
Yeah, that guy.
I think that's it. I think we've done it, Zach. I think we did it all this week.
Yeah, and it's a short one. We're giving you some time back of your day, I guess. That's what they always say in meetings at my work. When a meeting ends early, they're like, we gave you 20 minutes back of your day. And I'm like, great, I didn't want it. I was kind of banking on this meeting taking up a full hour.
Crazy. Oh, that's crazy. I hate being in meetings. They're my least favorite things to be in. Okay. Let's get one more really good tangent for the webheads here.
Just to get as close to an hour and a half as possible.
The science teacher is like obsessed with Spider-Man. In her lesson the other day, she was like, we're learning about the cell and mitosis. Do you remember that? Mitosis. Yeah. And there's these things, the little like fibers that come out and connect the chromosomes, they're called spindle fibers. And she's like, think of it like Spider-Man, spindle fibers, like, you know, he flips his webs out and she's like, I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite superhero. This is how you remember it. And I'm like, dude, this woman is obsessed. She can never know the truth.
I have a theory that she already does, and she's trying to draw it out of you.
That would be really funny, actually.
She's baiting you every time. She's like, oh, there goes John again. So anyways, Spider-Man.
That's really funny.
When is he going to say it?
Never. I won't ever, Jane.
She's just going to keep wearing that Midtown High shirt every day.
Yep. Every time we have a superhero day, that's what she wears.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It is.
Well, I hope she finds us completely organically because she's going through all the Spider-Man podcasts one by one.
It would be really funny to see how quickly she would recognize my voice and that it's me versus, like, do you think if she threw on a random episode, she would know that I am the John?
Well, yeah, I'm sure in that random episode we talk about Peyton Manning and living in Indianapolis and your volleyball boys.
Maybe. I guess it depends. Maybe we'll have to stop talking about that. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, is that it?
I think that's it. You got a jam of the week. You already said it.
I definitely do. It's I'm the Man by Aloe Black.
Okay. And I've got two because...
That's good because we forgot one last week.
I was just about to say, I'm making up for last week. So the new JPEG Mafia album came out, and it's great. And my favorite song on it is Sin Miedo. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Meido. It's probably another language. I'm an idiot, so I don't know.
You know how you can tell someone is American?
Is they only know English?
They only speak one language.
Yeah.
That's
and sometimes
one.
Barely.
You know,
sometimes they speak that language very poorly.
You know who told me that joke?
Who?
Ali.
Oh.
It's a funny one. I've repeated it many times over the years.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
This is funny because Ali is Egyptian.
Yeah, and he knew more than one language.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Take My Head by Turnover. I've been on a huge Turnover kick here recently, listening to that album a lot.
I love it. Okay, those are three good ones. To our listeners, winners, Matthew Stiles and who was the other one, Zach?
Patrick Brewer.
Just so everyone knows, Matthew was first through the email. Good job.
But you both get a shirt.
But you both get a shirt. You were second.
Yeah. We're in the practice of giving out participation trophies.
That's true. I'll get these sent out by the next episode.
Probably.
No, now that it's on the internet, I'm going to hold myself accountable.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you to Ian Hickey for the music and Alyssa Seaman for the artwork. And thank you all for listening and leaving a review or a comment. You can find us the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else you find podcasts. And you can come and chat with us on Instagram at First Read Podcast. Send us an email at firstreadspidey@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast. See you next week.
See ya.